I get.
It's good to go back. Okay, folks, we are going to begin. And you people all know, one of our Pine County board members, Jay Waltham, is he's coming to us on a Zoom call, and he is located. This is one of the things we have to do for the open meeting law. He's allowed to do that, but he has to state where he's going to be. He has to have his video and audio on at all times. And he is coming to us today from Puerto Rico. And it gives the address here. So if you were in Puerto Rico, you could actually go knock on that door and you could watch the Pine County board meeting with him. But we're here. So according to Minnesota statute 13D.02, this is what gives the authority to do that. And with that, and we also have some people that are on watching this on live stream. And do we have anybody today, Ryan? And with that, we'll call the meeting to order and we'll rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the East Central Schools 9th grade Student Government Day. And you've been here for 45 minutes already, or an hour. So we hope you're having a good day, and thanks a lot, and thanks to your teachers for bringing you down here. It's a wonderful to have you here. Public forum. Is there anybody here that wishes to speak at public forum? We give a chance at every meeting. If you have some beef on your mind, we give you 3 minutes to stand up and explain that to us. And we won't act on it, but we do take those things seriously. So is there anybody here that wants to say anything? No, you don't have to. We'll move on then to adopting the agenda. Have any additions, corrections?
No additions, Mr. Chair.
The agenda, Mr. Chair. Ludwig.
Motion made by Ludwig, seconded by Lovegren to adopt the agenda. Debbie, you want to call the roll?
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lovegren. Aye. District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
Thank you.
If everybody was in the room, we could do all in favor and those opposed, but by statute, we have to do a roll call vote when one or more members is doing a remote call in. We'll look for approval of the minutes of the March 21st, 2023 County Board meeting and summary for publication.
I'll move the minutes.
A second.
Got a motion by Lovegren, second by Waldham. Any discussion? If not, Debbie, you want to call the roll?
District 3, Commissioner Lovegren. Aye. District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Thank you.
Minutes of boards, committees, and correspondence. We got the Pine County Land Surveyor monthly report for March of 23 and the Pine County Chemical Health Coalition minutes for March 9th, 23.
I'll move Ludwig.
Second.
Motion by Ludwig, seconded by Moore. Any discussion? If not, Debbie, you want to call the roll?
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lopez. Thank you.
Next, we have the consent agenda. You've had that in front of you for several days. Any discussion on that?
I'll move the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Motion by Moore, second by Lovegren. Any discussion?
I got one,
Yep.
Mr. Chair. Just quick question. I don't see, it was about the timber harvest. What makes the appraised value more, or like, if you look at the Aspen, some places it's $40 a cord, some places it's 30. Why is that? There you go, Kelly.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Moore. So things that change the value are the age of the wood, the quality of the wood, and then the access. So some of it can only be accessed, for example, in the winter because you have to cross a swamp to get it, where others are summer access or anytime access.
Okay, cool. That's, thanks, perfect.
Thanks.
I'd like to give a shout out. real
Yep.
quick. So when we met 2 weeks ago, we talked about having this road easement out in New Dozy Township. And I just want to give a shout out to Robin Matthews for the quick job that he did in getting the survey done so that we can get this taken care of. Those amazing workmanship there. I just appreciate it.
Any other? If not, Debbie, you want to call the roll?
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lovegren. Aye. District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to our regular agenda, and we have Craig Taylor with us from the University of Minnesota Extension, and he's going to give us a little update. Thanks for coming.
Morning.
Thank you and good morning, Mr. Chair, distinguished members of the board. Thank you so much for your time this morning. It is a pleasure to see all of you, to finally meet all of you. Again, my name is Craig Taylor. I am the regional director for the University of Minnesota Extension. I have responsibility for the central region, and I've also taken over for Suzanne Henricks, who you know was the previous regional director, who has moved on to take another opportunity within Extension. So let me begin. I would be remiss if I didn't begin by thanking the county and its leadership for its continued support and investment in the Pine County Extension Office and our amazing team that worked there. We're extremely fortunate and grateful to have such a rewarding and successful partnership with the county. Let me also add that we are excited about 2023, and we're looking forward to continuing our partnership with the county and serving and supporting the families of this wonderful community. So this morning, instead of kind of talking about data and outcomes, Mr. Chair, members of the board, I'd like to take advantage of the opportunity to really just kind of talk about the role of extension in your county. And the reason being is because I recognize there are perhaps 1 or 2 new board members and certainly old board members who may not fully understand the role of extension in this county. And I think it's critically important for board members to have a good sense of what that is. And one of the reasons being is because it will help you to address a critically important question that often comes up with boards, many of the boards that I work with that I found. And the question is simply, somebody please explain to me why we continue to invest X amount of dollars in extension. What's the value? What's the purpose? And so it is my hope, and I recognize that as board members, one of your primary responsibilities is to be fiscally prudent and conservative with how and what you spend the county's financial resources on. And so it's my hope this morning that I can explain to you the role of extension in a way that helps to reinforce why the county's partnership with the university makes good business sense. So let me begin, if I may, from a historical context or perspective. Extension is the first formal structure that was created for the specific purpose of establishing a community university, what we call engagement model. Now, over the past 100 years, ladies and gentlemen, Extension has grown to become the largest informal educational organization in the world. It also leads, of course, the 4-H program, which has grown to become the largest youth development organization in the nation. And so one of the primary roles of Extension is to facilitate community university engagement in rural and urban communities in specific areas such as agriculture, forestry, and natural resources, community vitality, family development, and youth development. Now, another important role of Extension is to have a social impact, not only just in terms of strengthening Minnesota, but helping to build their capacity as well. Now, what I'm referring to when I say social impact is primarily centered around 4 things: creating opportunities for youth development, enhancing community vitality, building social capital, and creating cross-cultural and cross-generational connections within communities. That's simply bringing people from all walks of life together. Another important role of Extension is to support the environment and to touch the lives of families and youth in your community by facilitating the transfer of knowledge, information, innovation, technology. And to do that, our educators use 4 primary approaches to engage communities. And they are service, content transmission, the facilitation of that content, and transformational education. Our educators also help to address key issues and problems in communities, as well as help to build strong educational foundations for future generations in your community. And they also help to train community members to develop valuable skills, knowledge, and expertise in specific areas. And finally, Extension recognizes that a community's identity, if you will, this community's identity, which is essentially a combination of its history, its culture, and its purpose, recognizes that that identity is in part influenced or shaped by what that community knows or the community's knowledge base. And so Extension plays a significant role in helping to develop, to build, and to inform what a community knows or the community's knowledge base. One of the most impactful, empowering, and free services that communities learn to use to navigate or direct their own evolution and their own development is the knowledge and information that they acquire from participating, believe it or not, in Extension's programs. And so that's why, ladies and gentlemen, one of the overarching roles or goals of Extension is simply to teach people things that help to make their lives and the communities that they live in better. So let me say that again. One of the overarching roles of Extension is to teach people things that help to make their lives and the communities that they live in better and more successful. And so that's why, Mr. Chair, it's not just about the data. The data, of course, is important. It's not just about how many youth did you work with, how many adults did you involve, how many volunteers did you touch. It's really about the long-term, pervasive, life-changing, transformational impact that Extension's programs are having on helping to build the capacity of your community and to teach people things that allow them to navigate and direct the evolution of their future and their own development. So that's all I have this morning, Mr. Chair. I want to thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I look forward to working with you. I really look forward to working with David. He's been great so far. And thank you so much for your continued support of Extension and this partnership.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Welcome and of course, we're not gonna let you sit down yet.
Yes, sir.
We do appreciate what the University of Minnesota brings to us. We've got an alumni of the extension system sitting right over here. She now teaches at East Central, so we like to think we were instrumental in making her the best teacher ever
Okay.
to pass on. We enjoyed the time we had with her, but I know the programs that are available.
Yes, sir.
People that those programs touch people's lives, everything from taking a cooking class
Yes.
to going to a cow-calf days, those things are real meaningful things that people I know
Yes.
go to. And it's kind of like you look on Google. Here's an expert that's gonna be at the library on Saturday at 9 o'clock. I'm gonna go listen to what that guy has to say.
Oh,
So, thank you.
that's great. No, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
So Craig, when you were came into the role, there was some realignment that was planned. Has that been finalized or where are we in that?
That's a great question. Yes, they have extended an offer to a new regional director who is going to come in and take over part of the territory that Suzanne had. I think I'm going to take Pine. I'm going to keep it in my portfolio moving forward. I think this extension office and the community here are doing great work, and I'd like to be involved with that. We have a great team in that office, so I think I will probably be your regional director moving forward.
Okay, I noticed you did not include interim when you introduced yourself.
Right. Right. It's a long drive for me. It's a long commute, but I think it's worth it. So,
Where do you commute from when you come here?
well, my main office is in Andover, but
Okay.
I came from home this morning, which is in Minnetonka, so it's quite a drive.
Just about,
You're going the opposite way of traffic. though,
you
you're
could
good.
Right.
almost carpool with Dave.
Okay.
That was a silly question. Do any of you belong to 4-H? Do you have any 4-H members here? Well, if you listen to Craig talk, it's a good way to build yourself, to figure out who you are, what you want to do. They help the communities as well as the kids. And we have Sarah sitting right over there, who is our 4-H director, and she's amazing. If it's something you'd like to look into, I'm a 4-H'er. I grew up, I did cooking classes. We do dog training. You don't have to live on a farm to be in 4-H. Be wherever, but Sarah's the one that told me to talk to the organization.
Absolutely.
Just had to give the plug because we had a good audience for it. Yeah. See, she really wants to help you. No.
I just assume everyone in here was.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you again. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Craig.
Thanks. Minnesota Housing Finance Agency Family Homeless Prevention and Assistance Program.
And Jennifer Erdman from Lakes and Pines is online.
Okay. Are you on, Jennifer?
I am. Good morning.
Thank you.
So I'm with Lakes and Pines, and we are the current administrator of the Family Homeless Prevention Assistance Program, which runs from October 2021 to September 30, 2023. So the program itself has two different legs to it, if you will. There's a prevention side, and then there's a side for individuals who are experiencing homelessness, which is the rapid rehousing program. The program serves both families and individuals. This current biennium that we're under, we received about $252,000 for direct assistance. And we receive a quarterly disbursement of about $15,000 on the prevention side for all 7 of the counties that we serve. So not a lot of money. And so we're pretty prudent about how we spend it. We want to make sure that the household had an emergency that prevented them from paying their rent, and that they have the ability to pay ongoing. Sometimes we work with individuals who maybe are on work restriction, and in the next couple of months, they'll be back to work. So we're able to provide a couple of months of rent or mortgage assistance. If they need longer ongoing rent assistance, we're kind of looking at, how do we help them achieve being able to pay that on their own? For individuals who go through our rapid rehousing program, they can be on the program for as long as 24 months. The average length of time that we help them is about 9 to 10 months. And most of them don't re-enter the homeless system. There are a few that do. So for the time frame of October 1st, 2021 through February 28th, 2023, we served a total of 21 households in Pine County for prevention that amounted to almost $18,000, and for rapid rehousing, almost $11,000. 4 of those households were youth households, so 18 to 25. Once they hit 25, they're no longer considered a youth. And for the most part, we serve our youth in the Homeless Youth Act funding. So the grant is administered through Minnesota Housing Finance Agency. It's a competitive grant every 2 years, meaning other agencies are allowed to apply for those funds. Part of that grant process is that we are required to collect county board approval to be the administrator of the funds within Pine County. So that's why I'm here today, is just to request board approval for the 23 to 25 biennium to administer those funds again. Any questions or?
Jennifer?
Question. So you said that you can be part of the advisory committee and you meet the 3rd Tuesday of every month. What time is that meeting?
That meeting is at 11:30. So 11:30 till 1:30. If anybody is interested in joining that board, you are welcome. And if I can, I'll throw my email in the chat so that you can reach me.
And you've got it on this paper too.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, great.
Is it usually via Zoom or is it usually in person?
It's a hybrid, so you can certainly participate via, it's Google Meets is what we use. So.
Okay, we have board meetings that day, but I'm interested in this committee. So I just wanted to check and verify if it would work out. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then we get updates at the Lakes and Pines board.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, Jennifer, the people like Jennifer are very good about including with updates in our packets.
I got a question, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had stated, Jenny, youth is still considered to be at 25 years of age.
Yep. Once they hit the age of 25, they're no
I guess
longer considered youth. Yeah.
Okay, why is that different for everything else? I mean, at 18 years old, you can vote, you can buy cigarettes, you can go to war, you could buy a gun. And if it was lowered to 18, would you then lose a lot of youth for your program? And I guess why is it 25 years? Why is that number changed when it's usually 18? You know, I understand at 21, then you have other adult rights. alcohol, renting cars, stuff like that. Why is it 25? Can you?
I can share a little bit more about that. So within the Homeless Youth Act program, we can serve youth from the age of 16 to the age of 25. Or once they hit 25, they age out. And the understanding is that, you know, a lot of youth, they're just not prepared. Some of them are not prepared to enter into the adult world, or they don't get that training at home. Maybe they are aging out of the foster care system where they don't have those supports like your child, you know. They don't have those systems to fall back on. And so the Homeless Youth Act had defined the youth as 16 to 24 to kind of cover some of those issues where youth are not prepared.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
I'll make a motion for resolution 2023-23. And I just want to say, Jenny, thank you for taking care of our residents in the way that you do. It's a good.
Thank you for letting us.
A second.
Got a motion by Lovegren, seconded by Ludwig. Any more discussion? Not, Debbie, you want to call the roll?
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lovegren.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you all for your time.
I think it's time for you people. We got you pretty close to the allotted minute. So thank you very much again, classes, for being here. We'll take just a 2-minute break while they exit.
Have a good day.
I know that they said.
Yeah, sure.
No, because usually grant information.
Okay.
I've never gone to one of those. It's
A big class.
It is.
It's
It
2
is.
classes. I think it's. Is that the entire 9th grade that was here? Yep.
You know, I'm sitting here looking for Tony and it's like, oh, that's right. He's working
Yeah.
at the Magi now.
Yeah.
Well, we worked on it, Sarah.
Okay. We're back in business. We'll talk about the Nemadji watershed. Work plan, biannual work plan.
I'll take that, Mr. Chair.
Okay,
Well, we adopted the Magic Comprehensive Plan back in 21. So we had the budget. It went from 2021 to 2022. We're working through that now. Then we've been working on the new budget, which you look at here. And this is just to move it for the next biennium from 2023 and 2024, which is going to put $250,000 into that. And we share that. We just have a small piece of that. The bulk of it is in Carleton County. I think I added it at the committee report last meeting,
yeah,
but Caleb made a nice maneuver when we were doing this plan as far as the opening up STS around the subsurface sewage treatment SST around that.
right.
So we did a survey up there. I think we reported on. We had good volunteering. So we got that plugged in so people will have the ability to upgrade with some of that. That's the headwater. So
Right.
other than that, it's pretty much standard. You're all familiar with what's going on there with their 1-1. And I would move that, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Ludwig, seconded by Moore. Approve this work plan. for Nemadji watershed. Any questions? Not, Debbie, you want to call the roll?
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lovegren.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
All right,
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
Thank you.
Clean Water Partnership loan amendment. Kelly, you're gonna take that?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. And so I've come before you several times talking about our Clean Water Partnership Loan Program. And so it is a funding source that we've tapped into at the MPCA to give people loans to fix their non-compliant septic systems. The program has been wildly successful in Pine County. It is amazing the number of people who have come forward and voluntarily wanted to replace their septic systems. We started this in 2016, and so since then, we have put in $2.6 million worth of septic systems, which is 162 failing septic systems. So it's a huge program. Our last renewal was in 2020, so June of 2020, and that was supposed to take us through June of 2023. However, we used all those funds up, almost 2 years ago, within a year. And so then, because that was $900,000 was our renewal in 2020, we used it up very fast. And so in 2021, then we did an amendment, and they gave us an extra year, but another $900,000. Well, so that extra year was supposed to take us to June of 2024, which is about a year from now, and we're down to $91,000 remaining, which that's 4 septic systems at best that we'd be able to replace in the next year. Obviously, with the numbers we're looking at, we're doing 30 to 40 a year. So rather than turning people away, the MPCA has been very supportive with this program and is willing to extend us some additional funding to take us through June of 2024. And so my request to you today is to approve resolution 2023-22, which will allow me to execute loan amendment agreement number, actually 2. The agenda says 1. I realized it should say 2. Which will increase our funding under that program from 1.8 million to 2.4 million. And so that should be sufficient to take us through next June. And then we'll get to do a new renewal with them. There are no county dollars at play here. It's all state dollars that are run through us, and then we collect them back from the property owners on their property taxes.
Excellent
Mr. Chair?
program.
Yeah.
so is there a income level, or can anybody get on?
Right,
this?
with this program, it is anyone, there's no credit checks or anything, and anyone can do it regardless of income.
And then our other
Are
two programs that are blended, whatever, they have an income.
correct. So then we have the other one that works as a grant that is based on income.
And so what happened there where we didn't get any applications for a gap or something there?
Yeah.
I don't know, was it the COVID thing or what happened?
I don't really know. So that low income piece program was administered through Lakes and Pines since we started it in 2013. And sometimes they'd have wait lists, sometimes they wouldn't. The funding we got under that sometimes was as little as $20,000 a year. So we could replace like one system for a year. And we were also paying Lakes and Pines a 10% administration fee, which on a $20,000 septic system ends up to be $2,000 that really we could have been putting towards a septic system. And so we are administering that one in-house now. And we've been actually working with Becky's office to identify some target households and do some outreach for folks to hopefully get those dollars used up, because we're sitting on about $60,000 of that low income program, which again is state dollars. So
Kelly,
Thank you, Kelly.
as people pay these back, because it's a loan, and they pay them back, does that money go back to MPCA? Does it stay in our?
both. So twice a year, so like our $2.4 million that we're gonna have. So starting next July, then we have to start paying that $2.4 million back. However, sometimes we have more than what our payment would be in that's gotten paid back. And so we slowly just end up paying it back. That we pay on that twice a year in August and January.
And we just keep a low. fee
Right.
on that,
So this program has actually changed quite a bit even since we started it. And so actually the state used to charge us 2% interest. And then our loans were originally at 3% so that we got that 1% to cover the administration cost. However, then in 2020 renewal, the state went to 0%. And so we get charged absolutely no interest for getting these funds. We are still charging homeowners interest, which covers our administration cost of it.
That's still a 1 then.
So it's at 3% now. Just with the way that interest rates were going, people were using it to finance like everything that they possibly could, whether it was the electrical work and the design and all of these things. And we were using up our funds so fast.
Okay,
So it's at 3% now,
thank you.
which is still an incredibly low interest rate.
Thank you.
And then if there's, I don't know if we've had any defaults.
No, but it's treated just like property taxes, so the property will forfeit.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
I'll move resolution 2023-22
Amendment number 2.
for amendment number 2. It is a good program.
I'll second.
got a motion by Lovegren, seconded by Moore. Or is it resolution 2023-2022?
22, number 1, number 2.
Number 2. All right. Any more discussion? Questions? If not, Debbie, you want to call the roll?
District 3, Commissioner Lovegren.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to the commissioner updates. NLX was canceled, Pine County HRA and Economic Development Authority.
Yeah, I can, I can. do
Yep.
it. Dave can fill in if I missed something. It was pretty much a general meeting, but the $19,099 or whatever it is that came from the revolving loan fund down here in that group that's in now, and Kelly's taking care of that. We had a broadband update by Leslie. We had a Sandstone transportation update was by Leslie and what's going on there with that whole thing. And they put out a RFP, and I think it's CPCS or someone like that, and SEH are running that program for them. Childcare was discussed, a shortage of that, so just kind of everything going on in the community there. And then the Public Works meeting that's coming up April 20th, that's to align zoning and the community needs for development. Other than that, it was just a pretty much general meeting. I don't think there was anything major that I missed there, was there?
But Mr. Chair and Commissioner Ludwig, just a little more on the financial piece of it. So we know we have that revolving loan fund that has spurred a conversation about how do we want to structure finances for the HRA EDA long-term. Historically, and right now, everything runs through the contract with the management company, which going forward is not the best way to do that, because there will be expenses that are not related to the management of the Sandstone or Finlayson Manors. And so that Jolene Fowl and her company long-term should not be managing those funds that aren't related to those two buildings that they're contracted to manage. And historically, it makes perfect sense because that's all the activity that the HRA did. So all the money was related to those two buildings. Going forward, obviously, the HRA EDA is expected to do more economic development activity, and this revolving loan fund was kind of the first piece of money that didn't make sense to put under the management company umbrella. So our goal is by January 1st, 2024, we would have a separate, these are the things that are under the county's books and Kelly is responsible for, and these are the things that are the contractor's responsibility to manage as part of the management of the two facilities.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying.
Thank you for covering that.
Yeah, no problem.
Shaq.
Shaq, so the big news is we've got the new commissioner who is Brooke Cunningham for the health department in the state. And she has confirmed that she will come visit us sometime this summer to hear what our issues are and what we need to do and how we can work on the systems that we have. And so that was pretty exciting. May 11th, the public health emergency, the COVID public health emergency will be considered over. So it's good to hear that that's finally going to be considered done. One of the questions that came with that is right now, if you go to get an over-the-counter COVID test, you could go to Walmart and get it and it would be billed to your insurance, but it's free to you. So with them calling that state of emergency over, will those tests still be available to people at free of cost? And so that's still kind of out there. If there was anybody that had gone and done a COVID test in between the year 2021 and 2022 at the doctor, so it's an actual confirmed COVID that you had, they're going to be sending a survey call is going to be coming out to you just to kind of figure out where that's at and how that was handled. I think those were the big highlights.
How about the over-the-counter naloxone?
You know, they didn't talk about that at all. Is anybody here going to the training tomorrow up in Sandstone?
I'm going to go to that.
Are you? If anybody else can go, I RSVP'd and I can't make it. So if you want to go, it's at 12, right at the North Pine Government Center, and it's free.
I don't know if I can for sure.
Yeah, but if
I
anybody can go.
Is it at the hospital?
No, it's right at it's North Pine Government Center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If I can go, I'll jump in on yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great. I was really excited about it because it would work with 3 different committees and something else came up that I needed to
noon?
attend. At noon, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So, but they didn't talk about the naloxone so much here, because they're talking more about the health emergencies and that stuff and not the opioids. So, yeah. Yep.
Let's see, Pine City Joint Powers Fiber Meeting. I would guess I would call that an unofficial Joint Powers meeting because the city of Pine City was a little bit unsure what it was all about, so we used it as an informational meeting. And it was a great informational meeting to get the people in the room kind of caught up of what assets were available in the city of Pine City and what they may be used for. And so another meeting will be scheduled, and I don't think we have a date for that, but there was some tremendous confusion on the city's part about the availability of the fibers and where they went and how they could use them.
Well, it's so they're everywhere, but how do you know? I mean, because it's been there forever and they don't.
They do. The cable company, Midco, has an agreement with the city to use some of those fibers, so they know where they just hadn't asked the right people the right questions. So
I know Dave sent me the information on it and it's like, holy cow, there's been a lot of work done on it.
Yeah.
And then it did stop for a while. So how do you keep up on all of that?
Yeah.
Just reading it was kind of mind boggling. So yeah.
I think they're on the right track now.
I think it'll
I
be
mean, they got enough information that they should be able to be on the right track. So more to come. Technology committee was canceled, meeting with Senator Smith. Or not with Senator Smith, with the
Or yeah,
staff.
or yeah.
So do you want to take that?
Yeah, it was excellent. You know, there was no agenda, so you can walk in there wondering what you're going to talk about, but he's new there and he works out of Duluth and he was just very excited to meet with the communities and see what our needs are and where we're at. And so we talked a lot about if you, like the Stauber grant, we got that grant to do but then the application process is horrible. And we don't have the staff to do all the applications because it's so tedious, and we just don't have the staff to do it, nor do we have the time or the resources to do that. So being able to talk to him about those situations and our concerns for that, because the big counties are getting the big bucks. Us little counties are not, because we don't have the accessibility to do that. So he was just really, really good about that. Steve mentioned we went and got Leslie and brought her in. And so she was able to talk to him a lot about where we're at with those issues, and which was amazing. It was very good. It was a very good meeting. One of the things I suggested is that he take Highway 23 home to Duluth. And I said, you'll see Pine County, you'll see what the majority of our county is driving up 23. And so he was going to do that. He'd never been on it before. Like, how do you go from here to Duluth and never take Highway 23? It's the best road ever. But so, I mean, what a good place for him to go to be able to see what our county actually looks like. So
Beautiful up there.
I know, I love that road. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. What would you like to add?
You hit it. He's brand new. He's just a young fellow, really brand new. So he was on a mission to try to figure out what the people of East Central Minnesota were about.
I did tell him it was really good to see the face. I said, because you send an email and you never get responses to your emails. And he said, we're working on that. We've had issues. So hopefully we'll be able to have better communication with Rob.
And I'm sorry,
I had a question, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
I guess Terry, when you say Pine County doesn't have staff to do applications, can you elaborate on that more, please? I mean, why don't we have staff for applications? We have staff.
So on the applications, a lot of the applications that we have to do are on this page, you can only fill out 1/3 of the page. And on this page, you have to do 2/3. And so the expertise that it takes to do the applications for these big government projects is crazy. And we don't have people that are versed in doing those. We have some really good grant writers and some, we have a lot of staff that does a lot of that work. But some of these applications that you have to fill out are so precise, and the wording that you have to get on them. And if you do one page incorrectly, or you put the wrong word on that, your whole application's thrown out and you don't get anywhere. So they actually have classes that you can take to write these applications because they're that intense.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
And on the broadband in particular, there's a technical aspect to it that only the technical people who build and operate the broadband networks know. So you end up, if you're a East Central Energy and you're ramping up to do broadband, or you're an SCI and you have those resources or contracts for resources, you're able to do those applications better than if you're a unit of government, because we don't have those resources and those aren't our typical things we do.
Thanks for asking that question.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry, I skipped over the Snake River watershed and.
That was okay. Actually, so David wrote a letter, and it's a really good letter, but he put my name on it, so I'm getting credit, but I'm going to give the credit to David. Where we went to the Snake River and said, this is the reason, the process of doing, getting the Snake River 1 watershed 1 plan going. And it was a letter asking for the membership board to be dissolved. And so it opened up some really, really good communication with the other counties on dissolving the membership committee, or figuring out where the counties want to go with that. And then the process would be, somebody would need to petition to have that membership board dissolved, or we can decide to pull from the membership board and just be part of the 1 watershed 1 plan. And so that's kind of where it's at. It's all going to the different counties to determine where they want to go with that. We've had some really good discussion on that already. And we've had the vision as to where we would like to see that go. But for now, it's just figuring out where the other 3 counties want to go with that. And then we'll talk about that at the next meeting and go from there. They did figure it out. We don't have $300,000 in the bank. We've got like 260 or 280,000. And so then the other question was, what are we going to do with that money? We did decide to not, at this point, it's got to go back to the other committees, but we did decide to, at this point, hold off our 2023 membership amounts. And then we'll determine what to do with all the money that's sitting there. Because we're gonna be getting so much from Bowser that it's like, it can be used for the matches that people need to have. But how much money do you need to have in there to match somebody's project? So yeah, that's where it's at right now, is to figure out what's gonna happen with the membership board, and then the One Watershed, One Plan. Once they get an idea as to where that's gonna go, then they'll know what to do for their joint powers agreement for the One Watershed, One Plan.
How did the money get there?
We can.
Whose money is it?
It's ours. It's all that's just the county dollars that were put into that fund. So we all pay so much money per year into that fund.
So why don't they just kick it back and then
Right.
to each county at the level they put it in, or, figure it out?
So it's kind of fun, and then the other question is everything that we do, so we pay, is it $25,000 a year to Kanabec County? So they get, what was the amount that they get per year?
It's $11,000 for one aspect and then 25,000 minus 11,000 for the other.
That's what they get paid, but for each county puts it, so it's like,
Oh.
isn't it like 1/4 of the amount of money that they collect per year goes towards administrative?
One half.
1/2.
Yeah, that was the other interesting piece that came out in the meeting is that of the Pine County, for example, contributes just under $10,000. When you add all of the county contributions up, it's about $50,000, just shy of 50,000. Of that amount of money, there's 260-ish some that has been accumulated over the years, but every year, about half of those current year contributions are used for administrative expenses.
And it was
Not doing
Caleb.
Projects, just maintaining that infrastructure of having an organization.
It was Caleb that really brought that out and pointed it out, how much, I mean, when you're paying 50% to one county for administrative fees. And then I think that that's kind of what clicked with with Aiken and Kanabec County. Mille Lacs was not there again. But with those two counties, it's like, so we're gonna be paying for the administrative on the One Watershed, One Plan, and we're still gonna be paying 50% of what goes into the membership board. That's a lot of.
To me, the fairest thing would be when it dissolves, is divide that back out, and then
That's what I think.
Yeah.
then it's, otherwise that money's floating around out there. And
Right.
Dissolve.
And then you gotta pay somebody to watch it,
Yeah, no, it should go back.
Give it back and we got a formula of how
Right.
it went in there.
just pay it
Just
back for.
reverse the formula and pay it back and start over.
I think we're all on the same thought process for that.
Get that message across.
One quick question. So are they still paying Kanabec for that administrative fee?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But you held back this too, as you said.
No, what we pay, we are holding back the 2023 dues that we pay, but they still get paid 25 grand.
Okay.
Because they've got 287, I think, dollars sitting in this bank account
So when is
because
that,
they haven't had the projects.
when's the new governance taking over? Is there a date that's gonna happen?
They haven't figured that out yet.
They're still working on the joint powers agreement. They
Don't
gotta have
stay in
that.
Limbo too long.
Well, but they gotta figure out what's gonna happen with this board before they can really figure out on what's gonna happen with this board. So next month, the other counties are supposed to be coming back to the table with what they believe needs to happen, and then we can go from there. And then a county would petition to have the membership board dissolved, which I said we'll do it. We'll make that motion to dissolve that or do the petition. And then there's I think it's 60 days after that, and then it's, so it's a whole process because every board has to agree to it. Or we can agree to pull out of there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is it something that you could ask Kanabec, do you really need that? I know this question arose a long time ago, when things were going good and strong, that they were questioning how much money they were paying Kanabec County, and that was Pine SWCD, it was Tom Swaim that really brought it up, and he's like, I think we're paying them too much money already. But that was when there was projects going on and they were administering all that, and we decided to keep it the same, which they haven't had a grant for years now.
Right.
Administer any, they haven't had no staff members. We even had a staff member for a while, and outreach and stuff like that. So I would guess at the very minimum, Teresa, I suppose they want to keep the money, but, to take a lot less and or, none, or if you dissolve it.
I know, we talked about the money a month ago and asked how long has it been, that 25,000? And I think she said like 2004, 2014, one or the other. that it hasn't changed since then. So they've been getting that amount of money for a long time.
Was there a formal agreement, how much they could draw to run?
They
You
just
remember?
took it. That was must have been a memorandum of,
I think there
or
was some kind of
whatever.
agreement. They
Yeah.
can't just take it without an agreement.
they just paid them that 25 grand every year to administrate Snake River Watershed Management Board.
But you
And they
approved it.
did do it, yeah. And that was as long as I had been on there over 8 years ago. It was always the same. So, but that was, she ran the meeting, she did all that. But then they had to administer the grants, write the grants, all that kind of stuff. So,
I think it's been a while since they've done any of that.
yeah, it's been since before I was on there, because we were just going off of that fund you have now. That's what we were doing projects for, because we weren't even looking at grants because we were doing one watershed, one plan. So it's been at least 2 years of really, they haven't needed that money.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
So this is the piece that I don't fully understand why it's so hard with the Snake River, right? But you just approved the Nemadji work plan for the next 2 years. There's some dollar figures in the budget. It's clear that there's no county commitment to spend the money. What is the difference between all of these other watersheds now and what happens with Snake River from the, I mean, I think our perspective is that it's more similar to all these other ones. And I think that's the challenge that some of the other counties have, is they don't view it in that same lens.
Right.
Right. And I don't know what the argument is or the evidence or the conversation that's persuasive to say you have this with other watersheds now with the one watershed, one plan. If you wave the wand, you could have that here, and then you wouldn't have to pay the money to administer this board that no longer appears to have a need to exist.
Well, the one thing that I brought up too is like Mille Lacs County sends 2 different commissioners. One goes to the membership board and one goes to what's the other one? The Snake River. Anyways, so they have they're paying 2 county commissioners per diems plus 2 county commissioners mileage. Aiken County was doing the same thing. So I mean, you look at the cost that it's costing the counties to do that for their taxpayers. And then I asked, can't think of his name, the guy from Bowser. Oh, he's really nice. Dean?
Jason?
No, it's not Jason anymore. We got a new guy.
Oh,
Anyways, I want to say Dean, but I don't think it's Dean either. But I asked him, do any other watersheds have a membership board and a watershed? And he said, no. So I mean,
Once you have a water plan in place, the new
Yeah,
one.
there is no-
Right.
But that's the
Right.
board.
but they were kind of leaning on, they still wanted this membership board because it's that control,
Yeah,
because that's just the
that's-
county
There
commissioner.
still is, there'll be an advisory committee or whatever it's gonna be, but
Right.
it'll only meet quarterly or twice a year or something, because once a
Right.
plan's in place, they just run off the plan.
But on our membership board, then or not the membership board, but for our one watershed, one plan, we made it 8 members. And so we have soil and water is on there too now.
Yep.
Which they should be.
Yep.
But on that kind of, I think it's that control, just having the county commissioners holding those purse strings, I don't get it, but.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, and that's why when this all came along, when the law came along, I was like, well, this is no brainer.
Right.
And I asked the questions way back when, and I'm like,
remember.
what is, this is essentially what we're doing, and Jason, which Weineman or whatever his name, I asked is, where else is this Snake River Watershed Management Board type of thing in the state? And there's no other one.
Right.
That was the only one of its kind. And I think they modeled one watershed, one plan off of it, which is absolutely no brainer, but previous county commissioners that are not elected on the board told me straight out, you want to give up that power? I mean, it makes 0 sense,
Yeah.
0 sense to have. I mean, why you go to that first meeting, the Snake River Watershed, do you even do anything in it? I mean, other than have the conversation about dissolving it?
Well, we haven't, a lot of them that haven't happened. I
Yeah.
guess, the question is, do we want to have the power or do we want to serve the people?
Yeah.
And I would rather serve the people with the best benefits that we can give to them than to have power. I don't think power is
You
worth
don't need to
anything.
have a meeting just to have a meeting.
Right, exactly.
Here's the problem, Terry, I think. We've already got projects going on in Lower St. Croix. We've got them now that'll be going on in the Nemadji. And they're spinning their wheels there and they're not getting anything done.
They'll be doing them on the Kettle River before we get it done on the
Right,
Snake River.
Right, and so let's just move on with it.
Right.
Some people want a meeting just to have a meeting.
It,
Apparently.
it makes absolutely no sense to have it because they're doing nothing other than,
Going to a meeting,
yeah, and spending
plan when the next meeting is.
$25,000 a year to do nothing.
Well, and we've got a couple projects on the book, but I think there was only 2 last year. I mean, that's out of 12 months. We've got 2 projects that we approved. If
And there,
I can remember right.
I mean, I don't know why, wouldn't they have this many preferences?
Right.
I mean,
So.
A lot of money gets spent on meetings that probably are not necessary and travel expense,
yeah,
a
exactly.
lot.
So just moving along, get
Yeah.
it over with.
Put your stamp on it for us.
Thank you. Central Region EMS, did you meet?
That is rescheduled to 28 April for an in-person.
Okay,
But can I ask?
Yep.
Can I say something here?
Yep.
JJ had texted me a week or so ago when that train accident happened.
Yeah.
And we worry about our tractors. So, and just as a public safety thing, I agree. I don't know how we would respond or what, but is that one of the things staring us in the face? Because they're happening all over now. And then I was watching the news last night, or maybe it was the night before, and they said the railroad said there's like between 300 and 500 a year derailment. So it's like, it's just something I want us to think about, and maybe what we would do or whatever, what would happen, because we have small towns all along our train line. And they go rolling through their
25.
20, yeah, well, yeah, 20 a day, sometimes 25 a day when it's high. And they're hauling stuff. So just, and I agree, JJ, I don't know how
Yeah.
I don't know if it goes to transportation committee or what we want to do, but
Well, I would say, yeah, public safety, and thanks, Matt, for responding and the chat we've had on this. And then, I mean, just as simple as reviewing everything that is currently there for the plan. When something does happen, make sure the phone numbers are still active, they still work. I've noticed just the rate of speed sometimes of the way these trains are traveling. Maybe the sheriff's department, when they could quickly hit the gun on it, make sure that they're following all the rules they're supposed to. We have like a 2-track situation through the city of Ascov. I think Matt, you and I were talking, or I was talking to some train people here recently. You have one batch of cars may have chemicals and stuff on it that's safe by itself, sitting there on the one rail. We don't know what's coming at it on the other. If there was something, you're not supposed to carry 2 things together, but now they are together. And okay, what's the plan?
Yeah.
And they are happening at a disturbing rate. There was one in Montana here now, just yesterday, the day before, and Candy, Ojai County, pretty close to home, if the news was correct. So yeah, I think we should at least go over everything we have and just make sure we're in the right spot if God forbid something does happen.
Thanks for bringing that up, because I think there's about 55 or 60 miles of track through our county. On the main line plus the short line.
Yeah.
We can
We'll
add
follow
that
up.
Marion Larson from Central EMS is scheduled to come in person to present to the board in May.
what was that?
Marion Larson
Oh, yeah,
is planning to come in May.
I should stay on task with CMS, but yeah.
I got one other here. I went to the AMC board meeting because I'm a board member that was actually followed the AMC leadership training. I would suggest anybody that hasn't, it's the second time I've gone to one of their leadership skills workshops. They really do a wonderful job, and the guy that presented this time was an amazing presenter. Same guy, 2.5 days. He was amazing. And so, and then you sit at a table with people from Scott County, and it turns out the lady sitting right next to me and just got done testifying on family resource centers with Becky Foss. So that was a kind of a proud moment that, she had some pretty good things to say about Pine County because of her work with Becky. So anyway, that was fun to see.
I have one more other
Yep.
thing, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
I did get my interview done with Civic Brands
Okay.
finally. My iPad did not have a Google thing.
Mine didn't work either.
So I had to, that's what caused the whole problem. But
So you just called in.
we finally, we finally just started emailing and then she said, well, I'll do a quick Zoom. So she grabbed a free Zoom and said, we got 50 minutes. So, but anyway, have you done that yet, JJ? Have you done the interview?
What? No, I have not. Where would I access that?
She would have sent you an email.
It'll say Brisa Byford. It's a B as in boy. And then Civic Brand or something. You can set it
Okay.
up. Pretty interesting. You get to just layer what you think of the county and where you want it to go out. They have a good questions.
He's a good interviewer.
All right, thank you.
Anything else? That's all we have on the agenda. Nothing else. I'll declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She might have sent you the email like around March 22nd, JJ. So if you want to check back on those dates.
All right, thank you, Chair.